Hi and welcome to the quickest review ever of the all-new Ostro VAM. Some people say it's a 2.0, some people say it's just new. I will be telling you a little bit how I feel about the bike. I've been riding it here in Barcelona, not that much, approximately 120 k's for the last 2 days. And I'm going to compare this one to the previous one, which I also have been riding. And if we start by looking at the bike, it's not that easy to spot that this is a new one. At least it wasn't for me in the beginning. What you can see is if we start in the back, here is this part is brand new. They've made the top tube very thin and arrow shaped, so it gets a little bit more chunky in the front, slimmer in the rear. This also has a smaller, more narrow seat post, and all this is supposed to be related to new UCI rules, which in the past stated that if you want to make something this wide, you need to make it X or Y in height and width. Don't ask me about the details because I don't know. But either way, these changes, according to Factor, has been one of the most and main gains in terms of aero. And you can also see in the front that this shape is more like a hourglass. Is that what you call it? It's quite chunky and wide. And if you look at the fork legs, they're massive, super chunky, super wide, and super stiff. So, from my point of view, that's the most striking differences. In terms of weight, which always is popular to speak about, sorry, I need to mention the wheels, obviously. Completely new wheels. Can't believe I forgot these. These are one of the baddest boys I've ever ridden. It's difficult to see, but these are carbon spoke, and they are 48 millimeters in depth in the front and 58 in the rear. I absolutely love these wheels. On my previous Ostro I had the Black King 60s. Nothing wrong with them, but there is something going on with these wheels that I cannot explain. It's just beautiful. So back to the weight. I weighed this bike without pedals. And it came in on 7.01 kilograms. And this is a size 54. I have a bar stem from Black Ink. It looks massive, but it's only 120 mils and 380 millimeters wide. In the past, I've always ridden with 42 or 40 centimeters with bars, but I actually like these narrower ones. It's supposed to make you faster as well. If we are talking about the ride quality, it is very similar to the previous Ostro, which accordingly to Factor is one of the biggest unique selling points with this bike is how it rides. So the feedback from the teams who ride this bike is don't change the way it rides. And it's amazing to ride this bike. I would say it's not as comfortable as my previous one, but that could come down to the new wheels, if they are stiffer than the previous ones. They're also a bit more modern in terms of width of the rim, so they're wider. And in these particular wheels, I'm using the Pirelli P0 Smart tube, so the plastic ones. On my other bike, I'm using latex tubes. I'm not sure if that's something anyone would feel a difference in, but that's how I interpret it. And the biggest thing about this bike that I encountered today, it was a lot of wind here in Barcelona, and going downhill when I was descending, it was crazy windy, blowing like hell, but the bike was super stable in the front. Like not at any time was it nervous, and that normally scares the shit out of me, but this bike was super steady. It was on rails. It was almost like somebody was pulling and pushing the front wheel forwards in the opposite direction of the wind. Amazing. If we look at price, this bike is supposed to be in the same price range as the previous bikes. What I've done with this one is I have swapped out the rear cassette. So this is a SRAM Force group set complete build from Factor, but I've changed the cassette to a SRAM Red. Saved me a couple of grams, as well as the rotors are, this one in the rear is the old Shimano Durace, and this one in the front is the later version of the Durace discs. And normally they're equipped with SRAM, obviously, and they have 160 in the front and 160 in the rear, whilst I'm using 140 in the rear and 160 in the front. I did manage to save up to 290 grams by swapping out the tubes, tires, discs, and the cassette. It's not the cheapest way to save weight, but it's not the most expensive either. So the only negative I can say about this bike, and it's something that I speak about with my friends, is I feel that this bike is lacking a soul. It doesn't have a soul, and it's hard to explain what I mean with that, but I have an old Cannondale Super 6. It's a 2016 bike. And there is something with that bike. Every time you ride it, it just feels like it's a part of you, and it speaks to you. This modern aero inspired chunky tubes, I love how it looks, but there's something missing in terms of the feel of having a bike with a soul. I can't explain it, but that's how I feel. So anyhow, the complete package of the bike is just amazing. I would tell you that this bike eats S-Works for breakfast. It has Trek Madones for dinner and Canyons as a snack. It's just unbelievable. This is a proper race bike. So that was it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments and I'll try to answer them. And I'll enjoy 2 more days in Barcelona with this beautiful beast. Thank you for watching.